So, one of the most common things I hear from both people who are interested in wholesaling and also new agents is that they're just not sure how to handle the contracts. Initially, this may seem a little intimidating, but after you've had a few repetitions, it becomes super simple. After watching this video, you'll have literally no excuse when it comes to filling out a contract. Just to mention, this is the Florida as is, also known as the FARBAR contract. This contract is used throughout the state of Florida. If you're in another state, I'm sure your contract will have some similarities, but I highly suggest you consult with an attorney or local professional in your area. Also, disclaimer, I am not a licensed attorney and this is not legal advice. Okay, so let's dive right in. At the top, you're going to start out by inputting the seller and buyer's information. This is super easy and self-explanatory. For the purpose of illustrating things, I'm going to throw some names in there. These are just some placeholders. Next is the property description, which consists of some of the basic property details. That's the address, city, zip code. You're going to have to add the county in this box right here. Also, you're going to insert the property tax ID number and the property's legal description in these boxes right here. To find this information, what you're going to do is you're going to go to the property appraiser website for the county in which the property is located. If the property is in Orange County, just search Orange County Property Appraiser on Google. If the property is in Seminole County, just search Seminole County Property Appraiser, and so on and so forth. So for this example, I'm using a property in Orange County, Florida, so I'll be demonstrating using their website. Every county website is set up differently, so don't be alarmed if some are more difficult to navigate than others. It's still the same info you're looking to identify. Once you're on their site, you'll want to click on the property search over here on the left. After you've clicked through, you'll see all these different methods to search for the property. I personally think the easiest way is by using the property address, so let's just type in the address here. After you've clicked search, you'll arrive at a new page which shows all of the property details. You'll want to look for this number over here, which is the parcel ID number or property tax ID number. For the legal description, you'll need to click into this tab down here that says Property Features. You'll see this line of text right here under Property Description. This is your legal description. You can just highlight these and copy and paste them directly into your contract. Alright, so now that I've shown you how to pull this data, let's go ahead and muscle through the rest of this contract. This section discusses personal property. If there's any personal property items that are included with the sale, you need to include them here. For example, washer and dryer. If it was agreed that these items will be included, just make sure to add them here. Similarly, if there's any items that aren't included in the sale, just add them at this box right here. Moving on to purchase price. This is very simple and straightforward, so let me show you how this is filled out. The total purchase price will be shown here in this box at the top. I'll use $100K for this example. This second box will contain the escrow deposit amount. If the escrow amount is $500, just put 500 here. If it's 5,000, just put 5,000 here. For this example, we're going to use 5,000. Right here, you're going to select one of these boxes. Or as you can see, if you leave this section blank, then escrow is due within 3 days following the effective date of contract. The effective date of contract is the date that the contract is fully signed and initialed by all parties. This section right here is where the escrow agent's info goes. Most people use title companies. Some people use attorneys. The only title company I use is New Beginnings Title Company. They're out of Winter Park, Florida. Over the years, I've used so many title companies, and they usually start out pretty on point, and then after a couple transactions, they drop the ball tremendously. So I've never had any single issue with New Beginnings, and Katie and Lyle are on point, so shout out to them. Whether you're an agent, investor, wholesaler, whatever, they got you. I mean, like, you will absolutely be taken care of over there. And I'm not being paid for saying this. I'm just trying to put some of my fellow real estate people on to some high quality service. All right, so if you're doing a transaction that involved a second escrow deposit, you'll want to put that amount here in addition to specifying how many days after the effective date that money is due. If there's a loan involved, you'll put that loan amount here. And last but not least, you'll need to put the balance to close in this box down here. To determine this amount, you'll simply take the total purchase price in this top box and subtract the amounts in these boxes. In this case, and in a lot of scenarios, you'll just subtract this escrow amount to arrive at that number. Here in section 3, you're going to need to select the date of acceptance. If you're submitting an offer, then this date sets the tone for by what date the seller must sign. It can really create a sense of urgency if you say our offer is valid only until this date. Moving on, the closing date is added right here in this box. If there is an existing lease on the property, or if the seller is doing a post-occupancy, you will need to check this box right here. The terms associated with this post-occupancy can be highlighted in the form of a lease or also in the additional terms section at the bottom of this contract. Assignability. This section is big for a lot of reasons. For the sake of staying on task though, I'll keep this very brief. If you're interested in learning more about assignability and how to navigate it, just check out my other videos on navigating assignability. If there's going to be an assignment, make sure one of these options are selected. Okay, so moving on to financing. If this is a cash transaction, meaning the buyer is paying cash or hard money, this first box needs to be selected. If this transaction involves financing, just add these details in the following boxes. It's going to ask what type of loan is being used, conventional, FHA, VA, etc. Also, if the loan is fixed, adjustable, whatever type of loan you're using, you're going to want to specify it here. This box here states that the buyer shall apply for financing within X amount of days from the date of signing. All the way down here, there's two additional boxes. If there's going to be an assumption of mortgage or seller financing, these boxes will be selected. Section 9 discusses closing costs and fees. I'm not going to get into the details of these items, but these are the standard fees associated with each side of the transaction. What you do need to look out for though is down here where it says check 1. This first box states that the seller will pick the title company and pay for the associated charges, and the second option states that the buyer will select the title company and pay for those expenses. If you're in South Florida's Broward or Dade County, make sure to read through this third box. This is applicable to you. For home warranty, select the option that was agreed upon. In the majority of transactions involving resale homes, this third box, not applicable, will be selected. For special assessments, you'll select one of the two options. In most situations, I've seen the second option selected. This just states that any assessments due shall be paid in full by the seller prior to closing. Okay, now we're going to jump down to section 12. This section discusses the property inspections and inspection period. The standard inspection period, if left blank, is 15 days following the effective date. If you want to add a longer or shorter inspection period, you can type that number in the box. The inspection period basically means that the buyer has X amount of days to conduct their due diligence on the property. If the buyer terminates the contract prior to the expiration of the inspection period, they will be refunded their escrow deposit. If the buyer does not cancel the contract before the end of the inspection period, the escrow deposit becomes non-refundable and it will be distributed to the seller in the event of a buyer default. Alright, I'm going to be scrolling down past a ton of various sections. I would explain these in detail, but it would make this video last about an hour, so I encourage you to read through these on your own time. None of this language can be adjusted, it's just standard in this contract. Okay, now we're at the last part of the contract that can be edited. This is the addenda and additional terms section. If you're using any of these additional items in your transaction, you'll need to select their associated checkbox here. Also, any special terms or provisions of this contract can be highlighted right here in the additional terms section. One last thing to cover before we finish this up is this last and final section mandated by DeSantis, which was just recently added and incorporated into the contract. I highly encourage you to read through this and also do a quick Google search for more information. It probably won't affect you or your deals, but it's always good to stay informed and up to date. Alright, well this wraps up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and hopefully it added value to a few people watching it. There's no reason to feel intimidated by this contract. It really is simple and straightforward. Make sure you familiarize yourself with it and more importantly, go get some deals so you can start filling these things out. If you like this video and would like to see more real estate content, make sure to follow me and subscribe at Lonnie Land Deals. Until next time.